What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Uncle Fred back in the house again with another video, giving you some updates on current Cowboy, information and current situations regarding the Cowboys. Go ahead and hit that like and hit that subscribe button and get on in here. We got a couple things just going to go over with you before we'll be back with you on Saturday to do a preview for the Cowboy Vikings game this coming Sunday night on NBC at 7:20 Central Standard Time, and we're looking for that. But anyway, first news, some sobering news right off the bat. In this life, there's no guarantees, and and in life there are highs and then there are lows. There's exuberation and then there's disappointments and things of that nature. So hate to start off the video with sobering news, but Dak Prescott's grandmother, Margaret Ebarb, passed away last night. And so I know anybody that knows, I don't know Dak personally, but from the feel I get from him, he's a very family-oriented young man. And I did read somewhere when he was a rookie, he had an opportunity to go and see Kanye West, and he took that time instead of doing that. And remember, he's like a 23-year-old rookie at the time and 22-year-old rookie at the time, and he wanted to go to I think this Vinton, Louisiana, and spend time with his grandmama, which is his mother's mother. And so our prayers and thoughts go out to Dak and his family. We know he's still, I'm sure, dealing with the loss of his brother about a year and a half ago in April of 2020, Jace. And, certainly if you read all of his clippings and followed all of his games when he was at Mississippi State, he was fiercely close to his mother, Peggy, who died in 2013 from cancer. So certainly, the Prescott Ebarb family has suffered a lot over the last, say, 7 years or so with the losses. But we're definitely praying for you, for your strength and all that, and dealing with that. So with that being said, we're going into let's get into this latest news. Now, from what I'm gathering, and I look at different outlets. I look at major news, mainstream news outlets, to get information. Sometimes I look at some of my YouTube brethren and see what they're saying, what the latest is. And, sometimes I scour the internet myself. So, there's always, in a fact finding and research mindset. So, I listen to Mark Holmes and Jeff Kavanaugh. There are some, Cowboy information resources, and they're on YouTube. Shouts out to those guys. They do a wonderful job. But it's starting to become apparent that Dak Prescott might not play Sunday against the Minnesota Vikings. And I look for that in a couple of I kind of piece things together. I get some information from here and I get some information from there, and I kind of like weigh them out, and I kind of it's like knitting a sweater, if you will. And you're putting all the pieces together. So anyway, I heard early in the week, his coach Mike McCarthy was talking about him doing some things in practice, and we're watching him very closely. But he has to reach certain thresholds, in which I took that to mean he had to meet certain measurables in order to be a goal for Sunday. Of course, then when they talked to Dak about that, he was like, well, I don't know what those measurables are. They didn't tell me what I was supposed to meet, how many of these I was supposed to do, how many of these am I supposed to do, and this, that, and the other. but it was not said to him, and he was not aware of whatever those measurables or thresholds were. But apparently Mike McCarthy and the training staff, Brett Brown, who's the assistant trainer who works very closely with Dak and was instrumental in him overcoming the compound fracture that he suffered last October, getting him back to where he's at now. So he worked closely with those guys. But anyway, there was no indication of what things he was supposed to have been able to accomplish that would have made it him a definite for playing Sunday. So, but anyway, we know from that, and then from the standpoint that you saw Cooper Rush, or it was reported that Cooper Rush, and of course now the Cowboys run their thing a little different. A lot of the teams run their practices. You know, most teams are off Monday, and then they come in Tuesday, and then whatever, and do their thing, and then Friday is like a big practice day for most teams. But the Cowboys, they do like a refresh day on Friday, and their big days are Wednesday and Thursday. Okay, so Wednesday and Thursday, you heard about Cooper Rush getting all the first team reps, and Dak was doing like little individual drills, working with the resistance bands, and I kind of saw some of that footage. So, and it wasn't too like later in the practice that he was just throwing passes. Like I said, he was throwing passes to Michael Gallup, so that's a good sign. Might be getting Michael back, maybe not this week, but maybe next week against Denver. But he was doing some individual drills, and so you take what Mike McCarthy said about the thresholds and Dak not knowing what the thresholds were. You add to that Cooper Rush getting a good amount of the first team snaps, because you got to be ready in case Dak's not ready, because, you don't want him, because, Cooper Rush is like throwing like 2 passes in a live NFL game in his career. So, yeah, you don't want him to be completely green. So I could see them giving him first team reps. That's why I'm not putting all of my eggs in that basket. But you put that together with Mike McCarthy said, Dak not knowing what the measurables are, Cooper Rush doing most of the first team reps. You add to that on yesterday, Dak said, well, if it was up to me, I'd be playing, but it's not my decision. It's not totally up to me. Now you balance that against what Baker Mayfield said, a week or so ago. He says, "Oh, it's my decision. It's my decision. It's up to me." I'm like, dude, chill out. The medical people say it's not in your best interest to play, and for your long-term health, you ain't playing. Okay, so get off of that. So, but Dak, being the leader he is, being the the face of the franchise, being the unquestioned leader on the team, and seeing the big picture, says, you know what? If it was up to me, I'd play. I would have. If we had a game last week, I would have wanted to play. But we know conventional wisdom says he probably wouldn't have been able to play had they had a game last week. So you couple that with him saying, him kind of coming off as like, well, I'm gonna beat whatever, to saying, and you know what, it isn't my decision. You add that to Cooper Rush taking first team reps, Mike McCarthy saying, he has to meet certain thresholds, him doing individual drills and practice and stuff like that. And then here's the big joker. Vegas. Can't fool Vegas. Vegas is what Vegas is. They got all of those monstrosities of casinos. I mean, state-of-the-art glass buildings and all that stuff. They got built some kind of way. You know how they got built? They got built by getting your money. They ain't getting your boys' money. I don't fool with that stuff. They ain't getting your boys' money. All right. But Vegas don't do nothing just by happenstance. And so in the last like 2 days, you will see the line, and most times the lines of games move, it fluctuates, it's fluid, it moves because teams bet on one side and the line moves that way, then teams bet on the other side and the line moves, but it's only like maybe a point or two one way or the other, maybe 2. The line usually don't move no 4 points. Now, Wednesday, the Cowboys are favored by anywhere from 1.5 to 2 point favorites going into the game. Well, by this morning, the Cowboys are a 2.5 point underdog. So what does that tell you? Vegas knows something, okay? And they know what you and I both know, that the Cowboys are not the same team if Dak plays versus him not playing. Okay. There's a total difference in that. That's a total two different things. And so Vegas knows that. And they also know, and it also could be that they know that it could be a less than 100% Dak playing, and we know him compromise won't be there. But for it to move from 1.5 to 2 points one way and go almost 2 points, 2.5 points the other way, so that's like a full 4.5 point swing. And usually it don't swing that far. So when you put all that in the thing and stir it up, I'm probably guessing that the Cowboys will not play Dak Prescott on Sunday. And you see my face. But you got to look at the big picture. Okay. Because what you do, you got to balance out this thing. It's a balancing act because you got to look, we got a 3-game lead. We're 5-1. Yeah. And everybody else in our division is 2-5. So we got a 3-game lead in the division. Okay. So what does this game mean? Now, for us Cowboy fans, hey, we want the boys to win every game. I mean, shoot, we still mad about Tampa, All right, I'm still mad at Connor Williams holding on them last drives where we couldn't milk more time off the clock. I'm still mad about that. I'm still mad about Anthony Brown not getting Gronk out of bounds on that second down play, saving them time on the clock when they didn't have to use a timeout. Those little things. So I'm still mad about Tampa. I want them to win their game. But you got to balance that against, well, what's the opposition or the just position of, say Dak plays and he lands wrong or gets hit awkwardly and he's out for 4 to 6 weeks. Now your season is sunk. Okay. Now I'm good for Cooper Rush starting a game or two here or there. When we're talking about he got to start 4, 5, 6 games, and I know we got 11 games left. And if he misses 4 or 5 of those games, and I do have a lot of confidence in Kellen Moore and his game planning. I'm starting to believe in him. Unlike 5 years ago or 4 years ago in 2015 when we couldn't win a single game without Tony Romo, I still think that was a fireable offense. Fire everybody, GM and everybody, because you couldn't win one game with that offensive line. That Dez and Terrence Williams and Jason Witten, you still had Zach Martin, you still had Travis Frederick, you still had Tyron Smith, you still had Doug Free. You couldn't win one game out of them next 8. You couldn't win one with Brandon Whedon or Matt Castle. You couldn't generate a game plan to emphasize them guys' strengths and beat one. Because if they had won, say, 3 games of them 8, maybe they wouldn't have had to have rushed Tony Romo back for that ill-fated Thanksgiving Day game against Carolina where he got hit and re-injured his collarbone. He was out for the rest of the season. And that, for the most part, ended Tony Romo's reign in the NFL. They drafted Dak the next year, and we know he got hurt in preseason. Excuse me. And Dak was never Romo was never around again. But I'm digressing. But anyway, I feel confident in Kellen Moore's ability to put together an offense that will, give, if we got Cooper Rush here or there, I think Kellen Moore is smart enough, his feet are grounded enough, and he, that he could do that. He could get us a win. Something like that. I couldn't see us going over 8. If say Dak has to miss that many games like we did that year. We were like 2-0. And next thing when Romo came back in the Miami game, we were 2-8. They lost all 8 games, won that game, and then went and played a short day Thanksgiving game against Carolina, which should have been shouldn't have been. Now, had they won 2 or 3 games in that stretch, and say would be like, so that was like the 11th game. Say they were 5-6. Maybe they don't play Romo in that Miami game or that Thanksgiving Day game, and maybe they lose 1 or so of those games, and then maybe they win some of those games down the stretch. They maybe get in the playoffs at like 7-9 or something like that. Because I think that got you into the playoffs that year. Then that would have been fine, and maybe Romo would still be playing. Who knows? We might not even have that. Sometimes things take certain funny turns in life. It's just the way it is. But anyway. So it looks like Dak might not play. All those signs to me point to the fact that he probably won't play. And if you ask me if Dak plays, what happens? I think we win that game 30-20, 35-24, something like that. Dak don't play, and you got Cooper Rush. I think Minnesota wins 24-10. 24-14 or something like that. I think he could get us competitive, but I just don't know if we can beat a team like that, with Cooper Rush. But I hope I'm wrong, and I hope he, and Dak also said something about he's planning on hitting some other, he's gonna plan on getting even better. He said, I'm better today than I was yesterday, and it's feeling better. Today, and I'm hoping to be better tomorrow than it was today. And I'm like, dude, you start to ride the days. Y'all play Sunday, okay? It just seemed kind of foolish to think he really hadn't taken no snaps. And I know he got the mental reps. And I know he knows the play sheet upwards, downwards, and know him and Kellen Moore are like some simpatico. They know all that stuff. I get all that. But it would just seem odd to me that they would, he would go into this game cold, like, really hadn't done a whole lot. And, I could be wrong, I could be wrong, but we'll see. But if Dak plays, let's just see what capacity he plays in and just hope and pray he don't hurt nothing or get nothing sprung or anything gets worse. But the other thing they got to balance it against, if you saw the game last night, all the leaders and shakers in the NFC got 1 loss. Green Bay got 1 loss. Arizona now has 1 loss. Rams have 1 loss. Tampa Bay has 1 loss. Tampa Bay's 1 loss to the Rams. Rams 1 loss to the Cardinals. Packers 1 loss to the Saints, but whatever. And the Cardinals 1 loss to the Packers. So it's sort of like a round robin. They all got 1 loss. You don't want to come into the 1 loss party with 2 losses, because at the end of the season, ain't but 1 team getting a bye. All right. And that bye is important because, you want to play your 1 game. You don't want to play 3 games or 2 games, 3 games. And you don't want to start on the road, but you'd much rather start with your game being against somebody like Atlanta or New Orleans or somebody like that, rather than starting with the Rams or Minnesota if they play well. You don't want to start with them, or maybe I should say Green Bay or somebody. You don't want to start off the playoffs with them. You want to start off. So I would much rather get that 1 seed, but not at the risk of missing Dak for 5 or 6 weeks or possibly missing him for the rest of the season. So, let's just see where this thing goes. But man, so that's the latest I got on that. We'll see, what Dak does, and if he plays, let's see how he plays. If Cooper Rush plays, let's just see what kind of game plan Kellen Moore puts together for him. But what I do like about it is they're not saying which way they're going. And I love that, because that gives that other team 2 things to prepare for. And I love that. If you can keep Jerry Jones quiet, quit telling all the family secrets, trying to, nothing grates my nerves more than I'm hearing the media talking about Jerry said on his morning show today that he believes. I'm like, I said, it's just like nails on a chalkboard to me. I'm like, will you just shut the up and quit talking about stuff, and you know, because that makes him feel like he's important. Those things irritate me because I don't think those things help our team at all. Those are things we have to dodge and obstacles we have to navigate around and make our job more, makes their job, my job, I don't play, but makes their job more complicated. And I just don't know why he insists on doing all of that stuff. And I don't want to hear nobody say, well, he owns the team. Okay, what other owner? I ain't never heard Dan or Art Rooney. I'm trying to figure which one is dead. One of them speaking on a press conference about anything dealing with the Steelers. That's always who? Mike Tomlin. All right. You hear Stan Kroenke ever saying anything about, well, I like our prospects this week and what we're going to be able to do? No, that's Sean McVay. Okay. You ever hear the Benson family talking about, well, you know, I think Jameis Winston is playing Trevor? No, you don't hear that. You know, all the voices that come from the Saints are what? Sean Payton. That's the way it's supposed to be. All right. Anything with the Patriots, you don't hear Robert Kraft talking about, man, I wish we could get some pass rush. He don't say that. All the stuff, anything that comes from the Patriots come from who? Bill Belichick, and that's who it should come from. So that just irks me to no end. But anyway, that's all we have. Whatever. But I'm glad he's able to keep him muzzled, keep him from talking, because he loves to talk, and he himself talking, making himself seem knowledgeable, knowing good and well. My man Will McClay and some of them others have given him a sheet. He don't know that stuff. He ain't watched no film. They blue lined all the things that are what we saw and all of our the film we watched and the practices we watched, and they hand it to him so he can go and look in front of folks and be like, yeah, well, we got, stop with that. That's starting to rant here. Okay, other Cowboy news. Now, this is a point of contention, too, because I'm fixing to rant on this one, too, because we know we got Lyle Collins is back at practice. And we know him from the 5-game suspension. He played the first game at Tampa, played pretty well, but we didn't have Zach Martin in that game, who was on protocol. He missed that game. He came back the next game and played against the Los Angeles Chargers. But Lyle Collins, we know he missed the next game and the subsequent 4 next games due to substance abuse and drug tests. Because what you find out is, with the substance abuse policy, I call the SAP of the NFL, once you get tested and once you become, you test positive, you get put into another barrel. Now, regardless of how you feel about that, and you think that's man, that ain't fair. Look, it is what it is. And I tell people out there, dude, things are what they are. And you can fight and cry and moan and complain about all of that stuff, but at the end of the day, you got to do that. Same thing with death and taxes. You can complain about them, but you know what? At the end of the day, you got to do it. If they're there, there's nothing you can do about it. Some things just are. Okay, we know he's tested positive for marijuana and some other things, and he's missed like 7 tests. So supposedly he thought he had his thing cleared, where he missed a test, I think last year when Marcus Paul, I think there's one of their strength and conditioning coaches passed away suddenly. I think it was right before Thanksgiving, and he missed the test. But and then I think when his grandfather or grandmother or somebody close to him had passed, and he thought he had that, but then there was 5 other tests that he missed. And look, man, this is how I feel about that. And I don't care what y'all say. Maybe I'm just an old fogey saying, look, man, handle your business. I work for a living. If I think I'm going to be more than 3 minutes late for work, I'm calling somebody or texting them, hey, I got this going on. I'm going to be late. All right. And let them decide what they want to do. Well, you know what? If we got this going on, you just go home. I'll turn around and take my happy butt back to the house, or come on and whatever. But if you're going to miss a test, you think you're going to miss it, make the necessary protocols, make the necessary calls, and make sure that's excused before, like, well, I thought it was excused. Dude, you're a grown man. Those things like that, if you want to get on the wrong side of Uncle Fred, those kind of things, and then you playing the victim. Dude, you did that, okay? So once you test positive, you get tested like almost once a month or whenever they deem necessary, and you can't miss tests. But once you test, if you test negative, then you get tested like once a year, and they tell you when it's coming. So what is best to not get into this pile. Stay in this pile. Okay, don't get into the habitual offender group. Stay in this group. All right. And I don't want to hear nobody come talk to me like, well, marijuana should be legal. And I'm gonna give you this look right here. I don't care what should be. I care what is. Okay. Right now, you are a $15 million a year offensive tackle for the Dallas Cowboys. All right. I don't give a rat's, you know what should be. Okay. The NFL had made it where, marijuana was one of those things that if you test for it, you're in the protocol. I have a job now. They've written notices saying, hey, we don't care about these depositories you can go to and get medicinal. We still view marijuana as this. And if you test this or we get records that you've been to one of these places, we will speak to you. So what does that mean? Uncle Fred not messing with that. So if I'm at a party or some other gathering and I see guys messing with that, I'm going the other way. And you might say that's a punk move, whatever. I gotta keep the main thing the main thing. And you young folks, sometimes y'all don't see that. You want to make everything, trying to, well, it should be this. They ain't got no business make outlawing that anyway. Okay, but it is. And so you got to operate in that game first before you go trying to change things. So no love or no whatever for Lyle Collins for missing. I'm not rolling with that because you knew going into it what they stand for. There's a chance of a lifetime. Only 1,500 people out of the 300 million people in the United States get to play professional football. You are blessed and highly favored to be able to play that game. So do what you have to do to make yourself eligible. Okay, I'm gonna calm down. That nothing gets me more upset than that foolishness. All right, so he comes back, and but the thing is, people are up in arms because they're saying, well, he's gonna play the backup right tackle spot or maybe platoon him at left guard because we know Connor Williams ain't playing that well. So Connor Williams is either if he ain't getting blown up, he's holding and starting our drives at 1st and 20. So a lot of folks like, man, y'all Cowboys need to stop tripping. They need to go and get Lyle Collins. Okay, let me tell you about Lyle Collins. Okay, Lyle Collins is the dude that Jerry Jones vouched for because I think, and I'm mentioning that Jerry Jones too, because you gave Lyle Collins money that he didn't deserve. And you gave Jalen Smith money that they didn't deserve because you were trying to get back at Dak. And I'm still pissed off about that because if Jalen was so good, why he not still on the team? Because he wasn't good. Okay, he was adequate, but not $15 million a year adequate. He's like the 100th ranked linebacker in the league. Don't get me wrong. I think he's a great character dude and whatever, and all that kind of stuff. Don't get me wrong. I'm not assassinating the dude's character. Love his character, knowing the off the field stuff he's doing for underserved communities and the business. A good mentor, not knocking him for that. But as a football player, he was like the 100th ranked linebacker, but like 4th in salary. Make that make sense. But Jerry wanted to go ahead and prepay him to let Jack know you better take this money. Same thing with Lyle Collins. He was like, oh, you paying me $15 million? Oh, okay. All right, I'll take it. And Jerry chose to pay those kind of folks because they gravitate to Jerry. My position always been, Dak has kind of always been standoffish with Jerry. Look, man, it's business. I'm not you. You not my daddy. You not my whatever. You just a business partner. I play for you. That's where it begins and ends. Jerry likes to sun his players. He likes to, and I don't think Dak plays that game with him. So he kind of plays a little, whatever with Dak. So Dak, they didn't want to pay Dak. So they paid these guys. And so what does Lyle Collins do now? During the pandemic, when they reported after when the pandemic started in like March of 2020, and they reported the camp, when they did, you do know Lyle Collins was like 30 pounds overweight, right? They didn't tell you about all that. Okay. He was done. What were you doing in the off season? What was you doing? I know it was a pandemic, but the other offensive line wasn't 30 pounds overweight. Okay. I didn't hear nothing about Zach Martin coming to camp overweight and have to play his way in the weight into shape. I ain't hear nothing about Tyron Smith, but Tyron Smith has his injury issues, but I ain't hear nothing about that with them, or Connor Williams or Connor McGovern. I ain't hear nothing about them. Or Tyler Biadasz. I ain't hear nothing about them, but I did hear that he was way overweight when he came into camp. And because he had to work so hard to kind of get back in shape, that's when the hip issue surgery had to miss the entire season. Okay. All right. That tells you about his dedication and his, how he views his importance to the rest of the team, So I'm really not high on Lyle Collins, in case y'all haven't figured that out by my rants. Really not high on him, okay? Now, I think he can play, but I think the other things I'm not cool with, okay? Because you took it upon yourself to put your personal things ahead of the team, okay? Now, you knew there was a chance if you missed a test, they were going to suspend your butt. And you knew you were playing Tampa Bay. And you knew you were playing the Chargers. You knew they were missing Zach Martin. Okay, so why would you put the team in that kind of position? Because pursuing your personal pursuits. Okay, all right, and then here, coming to camp out of shape. That's just not professional. And you one of the highest paid players on the team. What are you doing? So now he reports to camp. He done tried to bribe the test taker and all this kind of foolish. It's just dumb stuff. Just dumb. And then he come now. Now you got fans that are up and down, but they know he need to go and be started. I'm like, no, because you don't hear that. You don't hear nothing. That's right. I don't hear nothing either. You know why you don't hear nothing? Because Terrence Steele has been handling his business at right tackle. I ain't heard no guys. I ain't heard no Chaz Green things when Chaz Green stepped in for Tyron Smith in 2017 and gave up like 6 sacks. I ain't heard nothing like that from Terrence Steele. I ain't heard a thing. I ain't even heard a holding call. Only thing I heard was when I think it was the Carolina game or was the Giants game. It was one of those games. He got a personal foul because he didn't like them piling on his players. I mean, get the heck off my. And I like fire out of my offensive lineman. That's the only thing you heard from. I ain't heard from nobody. I ain't heard no holding calls. I ain't heard nobody whiffing him get whiffing on guys getting free shots on Daks because he can't block nobody. I think he may have given up 1 sack in like 4 games, 5 games, whatever. That's fine. Undrafted. He handling his business. And plus they got a continuity. Oh, so you just going to come here and play and ain't played 1 game in 2 years and you going to supplant him. No, you wait your turn. You wait your turn. Now, if he gets hurt, turns an ankle, shoulders out of play, yeah, you come in and spell him. And if you do well, may stay in the rest of the game. But you ain't supplanting him because we have done well with him playing right tackle. You thought it was better to miss a test than be there for your teammates. All right, so no, I ain't with that. And so yeah, and if they feel like you stick your butt in left guard, yeah, you can play left guard for Connor Williams because you were playing guard when you came in the league. That's what they had him at. And they platooned him around. Good thing they had where you can play multiple positions. He's talented enough to do that. No, I'm not knocking his talent. I'm just knocking his makeup and his mindset. I ain't got no problems with how he plays, but just to feel like, oh, he can miss a whole year and play 1 game out of 2 years, and he can just stick him in there, and we've been playing this way for 5 games. No, I wish I might. No, you get at the end of the line, and we find a place, we'll put you in there, okay? You work your way back. We don't even know what kind of shape this dude in, okay? So he been out for a month. I don't know what kind of shape. He might have been in 20 pounds overweight. We can't get vouch for that. His judgment ain't good. This is the guy Jerry wanted to pay, but you didn't want to pay Dak. Oh, okay. That makes plenty of sense. All right. So he played him some at right guard. I mean, he backed up left right guard. I mean, right tackle, and he's backed up left guard for Connor Williams some in practice and stuff like that. And really, he needs to be trying to get his timing together, his wind together. He ain't played since September. It's almost November. So no, we don't know what kind of he in right now. So no, we going with Terrence Steele. Okay. And if you make too much stuff, this trade deadline in a couple of days. We'll ship your butt out there and take them 50 million with you. We got him for like $1 million. He playing, 90% as well as you would have played. So don't get me started on this guy. So anyway, so that's where we're going on that. So and then and speaking of the November 2nd trade deadline, we know that there's some things going on. And I know my man Jeff Kavanaugh, was listening to him the other day, and there was a couple of trades he did. I thought about them. I said, well, that ain't too bad. I know we need help in the middle. Some possible trades he think would be good. And I said I give him credit for doing that research, and and it sounds good to me. So I'll tell you guys. Kansas City has a center. His name is Austin Blythe. He's he's I think he will be available. Kansas City's offensive line is okay, doing pretty good. I think they'd be better than Tyler Biadasz, because with him, if he's not getting blown up by a defensive tackle, he's throwing snaps 5-6 feet above Dak's head to Dak's left to Dak's right, and he's got to concentrate on where the snap coming before I find out what kind of defense they're in and whatnot, and whether the play clock about to run out. There's too many things you got to worry about, So, and I think he could be had for like a 7th round 2022 draft pick, which is basically nothing. And you get him for a rental and you see what he do. If he don't do well, put Biadasz back there, send this dude packing at the end of the year, whatever. Do what you do. And then another one he thought would be a good one is Melvin Ingram, who's the pass rusher for the Pittsburgh Steelers, formerly of the San Diego and the Los Angeles Chargers. Good pass rusher. When he's healthy, he's kind of had some injury issues. That's why he's made available. And they went with Hayward and went with with the Bosas and the other guys, because they couldn't really depend on him, be healthy. But when he's healthy, Melvin Ingram can play. But he could be had for a 4th round 2023 draft, and you can never have enough pass rushers. Enough edge rushers. We got Randy Gregory on one side, and we're using Micah Parsons some on the other side. We're using all kind of things. When Tank comes back, and and that's another guy. I want to see where his head's at when he come back. You making about 20 million, dude. That'd be one we'd like to slice off, and we can get the same production out of Basham or Watkins or some of them guys. As we getting out of you, we can that 20 million can go into somebody else, and we can spread that around like 3 players, Now, if it sounds like I'm against players making money, no, I'm for productivity. That's my thing. If you producing, I don't care how much money you make. Okay. Now, I'd be pissed off right now if Dak Prescott making $40 million this year. Actually, this year making like 75, and he was like, 58% completions, had like 8 interceptions, 6 touchdowns, captain check down. It wasn't really, I'd be pissed off. I'm like, man, you could get anybody to do what he doing and make that, and that could be spread out enough. But Dak is according to the most QB indexes, the number 1 quarterback in the league. Now, I don't think he's the top quarterback. I think he's top 5, top 6, but that's okay. I just need him to do what I need him to do when I need him to do it. I don't care about all that stuff. And I care about you winning the games you need to win. I don't care about all that other stuff. He's number 2 or 3 in MVP voting right now. So yeah, that's 75 million, which is because that salary on top of the other salary kicking in. The franchise tag he was on and the other money kicking in. So he ended up getting like 75 million this year. And we got to go back down to like 40 next year. But anyway, yeah, it's money well spent. When you pay guys that top money and they that's what gets your salary cap messed up. So I'm not begrudging Lyle Collins for making 15 million, 14, 15 million and being one of the higher paid tackles. Tackle is one of the more important positions because that's how your quarterback get hit, or don't get hit. But I got a problem with you missing 7 drug tests. I got a problem with you coming to camp overweight. I got a problem with you, thinking that you God's gift to the offensive lineman and thinking, oh, I can just waltz in here and get it. No, you ain't fixing to do that. And so, yeah, and you paying, that kind of money. And I got a problem with you not knowing what gaps you're supposed to be in, totally out of position on all the plays you playing linebacker in, and you making 15 million. I got a problem with that. So yeah, Jalen Smith Dial Collins. Jerry wanted to pay them. Okay. So Jalen Smith is gone, and Lyle Collins ain't careful, he gonna be gone. But those are two of the trades that he would like to see made, and there are a lot of people have speculated on Michael Gallup because with us running this 12 personnel grouping thing we've been going with, maybe we don't need that third receiver as much, and Cedric Wilson is filled in admirably, and we know he in a contract year, and he's gonna want to get paid next year. I don't expect him to be trying to take a hometown discount, especially after having the injury this year. I don't look for him to do that. So, I love Michael Gallup. I like Michael Gallup. Love Michael Gallup. He kind of had some issues too. I think he lost his brother a year before last in the middle of the season. So he kind of had some of the same things going on with him as Dak does. So I think they got that kinship. I'd hate to lose the kid, but look, man, dude, you don't get to play this game, but maybe 7, 8, 9 years of your life if you're lucky. Get your money, man. I tell everybody, get your money. If it ain't with this team, there's another team over there that'll pay you. Truly, I'd love to have you stay with the Cowboys, but dude, at the end of the day, you're gonna play, 8, 9 years out of the rest of your life. You got a certain amount of time to make real money. Go for it. In this sport, you could be gone on one play. Like that play last night with the Arizona Cardinals and the Green Bay Packers on that kickoff. The guy Jonathan Ward and Killen Hill, that play can happen on any play. Carted both guys off. One guy on a board, and one guy with a concussion and some movability issues, another guy with a knee. Carted both guys off. So these are things that can happen. So anyway, those are the things. Those are the Cowboy news. And then this is a funny thing, and I always like to end my videos with a little funny note here. Cowboys wide receiver Noah Brown, number 85. I always tout him because he's a big wide receiver. He's about 6'3", about 230 pounds. I like to use him on like short yardage and like passes over the middle because he's big and can absorb tackles, run through guys. He got decent speed too out of Ohio State. And this is where I talk about guys really. I know people don't want guys are more intelligent than people give them credit for. I understand that, but some to keep your mouth shut and just stay in your lane. Noah Brown took the bait and chose to comment on a situation going on in Philadelphia. Okay. We know that anybody that's been watching sports, because I'm an NBA fan too, we know there's a thing going on with the Philadelphia 76ers and their ongoing contract situations with Ben Simmons. And we know that Jason Kelce, the tackle for the Philadelphia Eagles of the same team, or the same city, said that, man, Ben, just be quiet and just try. If Philly fan would not be on you so hard if you just play better. Just play better. Just make a commitment to play better, and the Philly fans will love you. And as a Philadelphia 76er fan, I've been a 76er fan all my life from Dr. J from the 70s. That was my favorite player, so that was my team, in the 70s. Dr. J and Maurice Cheeks, Andrew Toney. People are like, who are those guys? Bobby Jones, Moses Malone. That was my team. 4-4-4. And but yeah, so Allen Iverson, that was my dude too. But was saying that, and a lot of people were coming at him on that. Said, man, don't be leaving that. I was making the thing racial. I'm like, look, man, he playing Philly. He know the Philly fans. They brutal. They boo Santa Claus. They booed Michael Irvin when he's laying on the turf motionless, and his career was ended in Philadelphia back in 1999. Many people don't know that. They probably maybe not born when that happened. So Philadelphia fans are tough. So when you up there penny-anting around and I can't play, I'm not this and I'm not that. Yeah, Philly fans coming at you. When you choose not to shoot shots in the game and you lose a series, you had no business. So Jason Kelce, who played in Philly for a long time, brother of Travis Kelce, said that we gotta just play better. And so Noah Brown came at him and was like, hey man, leave that man alone, man. Philly fans just not they garbage. You need to, whatever. And I'm like, Noah, you need to concentrate on what's going on in this locker room. That ain't even your sport. Leave that alone. I don't see you talking about. No, I mean, really, I'm not trying to tell guys shut up, but that's not your lane. That ain't even your fight. That's just like me going in. I see, two dudes fighting. I'm gonna jump in. I don't know what's going on. I'm gonna jump in that family fight, and I don't know what's going on. What you doing, man? Shut your mouth, man. Play your game. Can't worry about what's going on in your locker room, okay, dude? I mean, I'm sorry I had to tell you that, but worry about what's going on in your locker room. Worry about understanding the play sheet and what Dak's trying to get you to do and stuff like that. Worry about that, Now, if Luka Doncic is doing something for the Mavericks and that you think is something, then you can speak on that. That's your city. You can say that. That's Philadelphia. Let Philly fans deal with Philly fans, with Philly. Don't get in that. Don't stay in your lane, man. Stay in your lane. No, but I still like you, though. I still like you as a player, but keep your mouth shut on that kind of stuff, man. Don't speak on other folks' stuff. Let Philadelphia deal with their stuff and let them implode. Don't be adding nothing to that, whatever. But that's all I got for today. And we look forward to our Cowboy pregame video coming up. As we play the Vikings, and hopefully Dak plays. But if he don't play, I see the big picture. Having him for the long run is better than having him for this game, and possibly could have him out for the rest of the season or missing significant time. So I definitely get it. So anyway, that's all I got. Stay with us. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. Your Uncle Fred just trying to do this thing. We're trying to give y'all good content, give you everything everybody else give you. I give you the same thing Jeff Kavanaugh giving you the same thing Mark Holmes giving you, same thing Mike Fisher giving you, as far as Cowboy content. I'm your boy too. So, mess with your boy, all right? I can give you some stuff too. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, and join in the Uncle Fred experience. I promise you, you won't be disappointed. That's all I got from today. Have a good one.